Another day, another dollar, the clock strikes 6. And just like that, the workday is over. Or is it? For so many of us, the end of the office day is just the beginning of another shift. The commute home, the errands, the family responsibilities, it feels like a never-ending cycle. I used to be caught in that whirlwind, feeling like I was just going through the motions, completely drained by the time my head hit the pillow, only to wake up and do it all over again. My evenings were a blur of takeout, mindless scrolling, and a constant feeling of being behind on life. I remember one particular Tuesday, I'd had a killer day at work, back-to-back meetings, a deadline I barely met, and my brain felt like mush. I got home, dropped my bag, and just stared at the wall for a solid 10 minutes. The thought of figuring out dinner, let alone doing anything productive or enjoyable, felt like climbing a mountain. I ended up ordering a pizza, eating half of it while watching some random show I don't even remember, and then falling asleep on the sofa. I woke up at 2 a.m. with a stiff neck and a sense of disappointment. Is this it? Is this what my life after work is supposed to look like? That was my wake-up call. I decided I didn't want to just survive my evenings. I wanted to live them. So I started a little experiment. I decided to reclaim my time after clocking out, to be intentional about how I spent those precious few hours between work and sleep. It wasn't about adding more to my plate, but about being smarter with the time I had. And honestly, it changed everything. It transformed my evenings from a source of stress into a source of energy and fulfillment. Today I want to share the journey and the simple, practical strategies that help me go from burnt out to balanced. It's not about having a perfect, Instagram-worthy evening every single day. It's about creating a routine that works for you, one that leaves you feeling recharged, not drained. The first and most crucial step for me was creating a transition ritual. Think about it. We slam the brakes on our work brain and immediately try to switch into home mode. It's jarring. I needed a buffer zone. My commute home became that buffer. Instead of replaying work stress in my head or dreading my to-do list, I started listening to podcasts on topics completely unrelated to my job, history, comedy, storytelling. Sometimes it's just music that gets me in a better headspace. The key is to consciously shift gears. If you work from home, this is even more important. You can create a fake commute, a 10-minute walk around the block, a few minutes of stretching, or even just changing out of your work clothes immediately. This simple act signals to your brain, work is done. Your time is now your own. Next up was tackling the monster of what's for dinner. Decision fatigue is real, especially after a long day. I used to waste so much time and energy just figuring out what to eat. The solution: meal planning. I know, it sounds like a chore, but hear me out. I spend about 30 minutes on Sunday just planning out my dinners for the week. It's a game. I know exactly what I'm making each night, so I can shop for everything in one go. This eliminated those last-minute hangry trips to the store. To make it even easier, I focus on simple, quick meals for a week. Sheet pan dinners, one-pot pastas, or pre-chopped veggies ready for a stir-fry. It's not about becoming a gourmet chef. It's about feeding yourself a decent meal without the mental gymnastics. This one change freed up so much time and mental space in my evenings. With dinner sorted, I had a chunk of time back. My old habit was to collapse on the couch and zone out. While rest is important, I realized that passive rest, like endlessly scrolling on my phone, wasn't actually refreshing me. It was just numbing me. So I introduced the concept of active rest. This means doing something low effort but engaging. For me, that often means diving into a good book. Getting lost in a story is the ultimate escape. It's like a mini vacation for my brain. Other nights, it might be working on a puzzle, sketching, or even just listening to an entire album from start to finish without any other distractions. The goal is to do something you genuinely enjoy, something that uses a different part of your brain than work does. It's about being present in your leisure time. I also realized how much I missed moving my body. After sitting at a desk all day, my body was crying out for some movement. But the idea of hitting a packed gym after work was the last thing I wanted. So I found alternatives that fit my life. A brisk 20-minute walk around the neighborhood after dinner does wonders. It helps with digestion, clears my head, and I get to see the sunset. Some evenings I'll do a quick yoga session or a bodyweight workout right in my living room, following along with a YouTube video. It's not about intense, grueling exercise. It's about gentle movement, about reconnecting with my body after it's been stuck in a chair for 8 hours. The boost in mood and energy is incredible. Another big piece of the puzzle was managing chores, the laundry pile, the dishes, the general tidying up. It can feel like a mountain looming over your evening. My old approach was to let it all pile up until the weekend, which then turned my days off into a marathon of housework. My new strategy is the 10-minute tidy. Every evening, before I fully settle down to relax, I set a timer for 10 minutes and just tackle whatever I can. You would be amazed at what you can accomplish in 10 focused minutes. Load the dishwasher, wipe down the counters, fold a small basket of laundry. It's not about getting the whole house spotless, it's about chipping away at it, so it never becomes an overwhelming monster. This little habit keeps the chaos at bay and makes my weekends so much more enjoyable. But what about connection? In Hassau, I noticed I was becoming isolated. I'd be too tired to make plans or even to have a meaningful conversation with the people I lived with. So I started being intentional about connection too. This meant putting my phone away during dinner. It meant scheduling a weekly call with a friend I hadn't spoken to in a while. Even a quick 10-minute chat can make a huge difference. On nights when I have more energy, I'll make plans to meet a friend for a walk or a casual bite. It's about prioritizing people. These moments of connection are what truly refuel our souls, reminding us that we're part of something bigger than our to-do lists. Finally, the most important part of reclaiming my evenings was creating a wind-down routine for sleep. I used to work or stare at screens right up until I closed my eyes, and then I'd wonder why I couldn't sleep. Now, the last hour of my day is a screen-free zone. I'll dim the lights, maybe make a cup of herbal tea, and read a physical book. Sometimes I'll journal, just jotting down a few thoughts from the day or things I'm grateful for. It's a simple, calming ritual that tells my body and mind that it's time to rest. The improvement in my sleep quality was immediate and profound. Waking up feeling genuinely rested is the ultimate foundation for a good day and, in turn, a good evening. Look, this isn't a rigid military-style schedule. It's a flexible framework. Some nights, I'm genuinely exhausted, and the best thing for me is to order that pizza and watch a movie, and that's okay. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to be intentional. It's about making conscious choices about how you spend your time instead of letting your time just happen to you. It's about finding a balance that serves you, that fills your cup instead of emptying it. Start small. Pick one thing. Maybe it's the transition ritual. Maybe it's the 10-minute tidy. See how it feels. Build from there. Your evenings are your own. They are a gift. Let's start treating them that way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.